So in the state of Tennessee, and a lot of times people talk in terms of physical custody and legal custody, but what we look at with physical custody is a co-parenting time schedule. So in the state of Tennessee, whether you get divorced, whether you reach an agreement, even if it's a parentage case, you're going to get a permanent parenting plan, and that plan outlines physically who the child is going to be with on certain days and certain times. Then it's going to also outline who has decision-making authority for the children, and that's the ability to make decisions such as medical decisions, educational decisions, religious decisions, extracurricular activities. So that's what you're looking at that would be more akin to legal custody. So in the state of Tennessee, this is where things sometimes get a little complicated, and where it's also important to know your judges. Is the law is the same throughout the state, and that's to maximize each parent's ability to spend time with the children, with also considering a laundry list of factors. Some judges do tend to lean more towards 50-50, and some judges don't. So that's why it's very important that your attorney knows the judge that they're in front of. So what it means when they say the best interest of the child, a lot of times judges are going to look at who's been the primary caregiver of the child or the children. They're also going to look at each parent's ability to care for the children. That could be financial care. That can also be emotional care. They're going to look at the child's routine. They want to make sure that the children have continued stability in their lives. So when you start looking at a lot of aspects of the child's life, that's what the court's going to look at as to what's best for this child. The court really tends to look at what's best for the children and not what's best for the parents. Yeah, so once you have a permanent parenting plan in the state of Tennessee, they can be changed based on what you're wanting to change in that parenting plan. There's different legal standards to meet, but the majority of the time we're going to be looking at, has there been a material change of the circumstances? And that could be something that's changed in the child's life. It could also be something that might have changed in the parent's life. A lot of times work schedules change, people move, distances change. So the court's going to be looking for that material change of circumstances. And then if that burden is met, then the court goes back to what's in the child's best interest. Yeah, so tactically how things happen is in permanent parenting plans, the majority of them are going to say that if you want to change the plan before petitioning the court, you've got to go to mediation. So we start by sending a request to the other side that you want to attend mediation, and it's very specific in the plan as to how to ask for mediation. And then once you go to mediation, if the mediation is not successful, that's when you file a petition with the court to modify the permanent parenting plan. So if you're looking to move, the law in the state of Tennessee is that if you're wanting to move out of state or more than 50 miles away from the other parent either must agree, and if not, then there's certain procedures and processes and steps that you take to ask for permission for the court to relocate more than 50 miles away or out of state with the child. If you're not wanting to move more than 50 miles away or out of state, then you don't have to have permission. So if you're wanting to move out of state, you have to send basically a notification to the other parent of your intention, and it has to be a very specific letter that complies with the law. We can help you with that, and then you would send that request. And then from that point, if we have an agreement or if we don't have an agreement, that depends on if we do or if we do not have to file court action. So I've had people move outside of the 50 miles before. One time it was moving probably a couple hundred miles away, and it was for the primary parent had been remarried. Them and their new spouse were from a different area. They had family there. They had a support system there. They had more children, and that person was the primary caretaker of this child. So if you're looking at establishing or changing a co-parenting schedule, or what people oftentimes refer to as custody, please feel free to reach out to us. Let us take a look at your case and give us a call at Mandy Hancock Law.